Neste innleder vår egen olje- og energiminister. Ta ham vel imot, Tord Lien.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for inviting me to the 2015 Zero Conference. 10 years has passed since this very conference was established. And in these 10 years, the conference has developed into the place to be. If you are interested in important issues like climate, energy, and sustainable industrial developments for the future. And to the Zero Foundation, while we probably not always agree, I do want to say that with your pragmatic approach to these very important issues, you have also become a constructive partner in discussions with Norwegian authorities and the political environment in Norway. I have to say that I also very much enjoyed visiting the Zero Expo earlier today. Some of the solutions we saw presented there today will be part of sustainable energy systems in the future. And allow me also to commend State Secretary Bakke for the tremendous effort Germany has been doing to change their energy system. And to start my points of view today, I would like to ask all of you a question. Napoleon III, Emperor of France, when he invited the important guests to dinner, he set the table with a metal more precious than gold. What metal was that? I heard somebody already giving the answer, but I will get back to that for the rest of the crowd. A couple of weeks ago, I had the pleasure of participating in Statkraft's 120th anniversary event in Stockholm. Over the last 120 years, Statkraft has evolved to become the largest generator of renewable energy in Europe. Norway is not only well supplied with renewable and flexible power for our national consumption, in most years, we even have a surplus of renewable power. This puts Norway in a unique position and makes the job of the Norwegian Minister of Energy a lot easier than many of my colleagues in Europe. Another unique feature of Norway is our low-emission industry. For more than 100 years, the development of our hydropower resources has also created a foundation for our power-intensive industries. There is a long historical line to the modern day's high-tech industry of today, and I might add of tomorrow. Allow me to mention two important examples. In the last 15 years, the consumption of aluminium has doubled in the global markets. Aluminium is present everywhere. Cars, bicycles, household items, consumer electronics, such as smartphones, not to mention, importantly, the soda can. The soda can is actually the world's most recycled metal product. Being powered by renewable hydropower and with low emissions, aluminium produced in Norway is a part of the climate solution. Secondly, we are currently seeing a new industry establishing itself in Norway and our Nordic partner countries, data centers of a fast-growing digital industry. Computing moves to the cloud. Music, photos, and other data are stored and processed on remote computers. And as this develops, companies need to make their power-hungry data centers more efficient. Norway is an attractive location for such centers. We have enough power, we have green power, and we have affordable power. Together with favorable investment conditions and a fresh and cold climate for efficient cooling, this makes Norway the perfect match for this new industry. Renewable electricity will also play an important role in our efforts to reduce emissions in the transport sector. This sector accounts for 1/3 of Norway's total greenhouse gas emissions. We have an ambition to develop a low-emission transport sector, and to achieve this, we recently strengthened our efforts through Enova. Some of our goals include more charging stations along highways in order to facilitate long-distance travel, but we also work to facilitate the use of low-emission technologies in the maritime sector. For instance, German companies has together with Norwegian companies together developed the world's first car ferry, Ampere, which I know has been a topic for this conference on many occasions. When it comes to electrical vehicles, no country in the world is even close to have as large share of electrical vehicles as Norway. I already mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, that in an average year, Norway generates a power surplus, making us a net exporter of clean energy to Europe. Even so, we are continuing to develop more renewable energy from Finnmark in the north to the Agder countries in the south. Replacing traditional electricity generation with production from intermittent sources, such as wind and solar power, district heating, and energy-efficient consumption does not come without challenges. There is an increasing need for flexible capacity in Europe. And this is why we are building new interconnectors between Norway and Germany and between Norway and the United Kingdom. At the same time, Norwegian hydropower is not enough to secure sufficient energy for the European market. This summer, I had the great pleasure of welcoming EU Commissioner for Energy and Climate, Miguel Arias Cañete, to Norway. Together, we visited the Troll gas field in the North Sea. This field alone produces enough gas to meet Spain's annual demand. Large remaining gas resources, proximity to the market, and an efficient gas infrastructure with low cost makes gas from Norway competitive in the European market. And gas has far lower emissions than coal, making it an integral part of a low-emissions future. Natural gas can also play an important role in providing flexibility and backup capacity for renewable energy. Ladies and gentlemen, I started by telling you how Norway's experience with hydropower puts us in a unique position compared to most of our neighbors in Europe. We will together continue to develop these fantastic resources. We also work hard to develop and promote technological solutions within carbon capture and storage. Norway and Europe might have very different points of departure within energy production and building our energy systems. But when it comes to climate, we are in it together. We need a strong, ambitious climate agreement in Paris with all major economies and emitters on board. If we are to succeed in fighting climate change, we need to develop sustainable power systems that are not only ecologically sustainable, but also socially and economically sustainable. And finally, as many of you already have guessed, what Napoleon III used for serving dinners was aluminium. Luckily, the aluminium prices has changed since then. Unfortunately, some might add, they have changed a little bit too much. Thank you for the attention.